Do you need to do that or not? You have to do it. If you don't do this,
우리가 이 코드 하나 받으면은요, 3대까지 상속이 돼요.
let's say that we have 3 codes and it could be inherited for the next 3 generations. In 30 or 60 years,
우리 손자떼들이 살아가.
our next generation will leave the future,
이웃집 손자는 지금
and
한 달에 1억씩
the grandchildren of your neighbor could have already been inherited his or her grandmother's code and traveling all over the world doing enemy business. But your grandchildren don't have nothing, and he or she needs to start from the scratch. And that grandchild might say, you said you've already attended Chairman Park's lecture, but why you didn't do that? Grandma, why you didn't do that? Why you didn't start that? Your friends attended the seminar together, and your friend started the business, and that grandmother inherited her close to the grandchild, so they're living a loyal life. But why? Am I living this life like this? I'm like a slave. I'm living a slavery-like living. So you could be blamed for that. You are the future ancestor to your grandchildren. So in order not to be blamed, you need to decide, and you need to make a wise decision. No money is required. So even though you failed, no damages will be made. Because when you meet people, you need to have a cup of tea, you need to drink a cup of coffee, and you need to hang around with your friends, and you need to spend some money. And don't spend the money on that. Try to use that money in this business, and then your next generation will love you. They said, my grandmother, my grandfather started Atomy, and thanks to them, I'm living like kings and queens. Do you want your grandchildren live like a queen or king? Or do you want your children or grandchildren live like a slave? It is totally up to you. And your life is also up to you. I know there is nothing to make a living, because we need to 30, 40, 50, or 60 years more. Even we retire, we need to live like over 30 years.
인생 한 30살까지는 되게 공부합니다, 지금. 30에서 60까지 일을 해요.
Most of the people live in their 30s to 60s. The problem is that when they retire in their 60s, we need to live until 120 years old, and we have 60 more years to live without a job. Sometimes we don't have money. But when we get old, aged, we might have some diseases, and it could be burdensome to your children. You could be a burden to your children. Your like son-in-law and daughter-in-law. All of them could be pressured and burdened because of you. But if you become the successful people in Atomy, you could give some money to your children and the grandchildren, and you will be the true adult of your family. This is what an adult means. To your nephew, to your niece, you could give some money, and then you could be admired as an adult. So please decide whether you want to live like a burden or live like an adult. It is totally up to you. Of course, not everyone will do Atomy, because we need some public officers, we need some school teachers. But other than that, the majority of people, even including doctors, wants to do Atomy.
자기 어머니가 어느 날 와가지고 내가 아들 공부를 잘못 시켰다.
He said, his mother said, I shouldn't have provided you enough education, because he became proctologist because she studies well, but he said that he needs to look into other people's anus every day because he is a proctologist. Of course, this kind of doctors are still needed in the society. Some people have some issues in the anus, and the quality of life will decrease if he or she has some issues in their anus. So we need them. We need this kind of angels. I think here most of you have the same issues, even though we cannot see it. But I'm sure that most of you might have some issues with your anus, I believe. So I know we need to feel grateful for them. But the doctor decided to start an anatomy business, and his sponsor didn't let him register as a member for a month. So that doctor were like kind of upset, but he found something and he finally registered as a member. The doctor, the proctologist, thought that I could not live this kind of life, looking into other people's anus for the entire of my life. And the problem is that in his 60s or 70s, he cannot do the surgery. And let's imagine that. What if he lived till 150 years old? If he quit his job at 60s, he need to live 90 more years, 80 years more. And there's nothing to make a living. And the doctor found that the solution will be Atomy. He really wanted to travel abroad out of the hospital, and that doctor felt really envy for the Atomy businessman, and he now became a Sharon Rose master. Even he has difficult times in making his business. Sometimes he needed to meet each and every single of the partners. He rent a bus and he invited a lot of people, and like this he really did a great job and made a lot of effort in building his business, and now he became a Sharon Rose master. I think he's really smart.
구독, 좋아요 눌러주세요.